Hi. Welcome back to Affirmed, where we tell stories of the trans experience. I'm your host, Valerie. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, it's Valerie here. It has been a while. I promise I am not gone. I still have lots of content planned and some guests that I'm hoping to get on, and lots more to do with the podcast. I've just been taking some much needed time when things have been a little bit crazy lately. And I'm definitely hoping to get back to recording and filming new content soon. But this episode is actually a bonus episode, and it is Izzy's first episode. So that's very exciting. I believe she is going to walk you through names and how to potentially choose a new name, which is honestly one of the most exciting experiences. Most people don't get that experience in their lifetime. We can. There's nothing stopping most of us outside of some financial barriers and just some annoyances around having to change your name. But it's something that society just doesn't seem to offer people. It doesn't come into a lot of our minds, or maybe you're born with you're given a name that you like. But for a lot of us out there, it is a very, very exciting opportunity to be able to choose our new names. So, without further ado, here is Izzy.
Hey everyone, it's Izzy here. I wanted to, I'm going to do a couple little side episodes on occasion, and this is the first one. I'm going to talk about names in a trans person context today. I mean, the first thing in my notes is to crack a joke that I'm not going to go on about Shakespeare, and I think I'm just going to pretend that's covered and move on. So, knowing your own name is not something that most people have to deal with because they just kind of get given one. Like you're born, they smack you on the butt, and you get a name on your birth certificate, and that's your name. So you never have to think about it. But the interesting thing about transition is. Now, granted, this isn't universal. Some people do keep their old name, and it doesn't bother them at all. I know for me, my old name, or dead name, as a lot of people refer to it, is incredibly full of dysphoria. I do not want anything to do with it. So most trans people, be they trans-masc, trans-femme, or somewhere in the middle, any of the fantastic non-binary possibilities, they tend to change their name. And picking that name is really, really stressful for most. Granted, I'm talking about it being really stressful, and mine was really easy, which I'll tell you about a little bit later. But we all started with that name. We all have a name, and then when transition comes up for us, it's kind of one of the big questions. Along with, are you going to medically transition? Are you going to physically transition socially? But what about your name? Because if you're twirling around in a super, super spinny skirt, doing all of us proud, and the name on your driver's license still says, William. No offense to any Williams out there. It can be dissonant. It's not necessarily the cause of dysphoria, but it's definitely something that can build to it. So it's something simple, but it's important to choose that name in a way that you're going to enjoy, because Now, granted, you can change your name as much as you want. That's perfectly legal, but like, you probably only want to do it once. I know here where I am, it's gonna cost somewhere around $200, and I'm not just gonna throw $200 every time I don't like what people call me. Um, so it's not gonna happen that way. So it's it's something that people have to put a little bit of thought into. For mostly, like I said, I'm gonna tell you guys. Actually, I'll tell you guys that story now. So I wasn't sure at all what kind of name I was going to switch to. I know that I didn't want to do the thing where I girlified my dead name because it's only one letter and it would have been a girl's name. You can all guess about what it was because I'm not telling you. So, my wife is Welsh, and she was calling me. It's Carrie. I think it's pronounced. Now, granted, any Welsh people out there, I suck at this, and they're gonna listen to this and probably like rake me over the coals. But Carrie means to love, or love itself, and the name version of it was Cerys, Cerys, for those who want to know how it's spelled. And that was the first name that ever kind of like made me feel something. It is not, as you guys probably know, my actual name. Because, as with most human things, we tend to shorten stuff. That's why people get nicknames. And so Cerys became Is, very briefly, because that's very awkward, became Is. So, and then is naturally becomes Izzy when you're calling someone. Like, you're just adding the Y sound at the end is a very English speaking human sort of thing. So it became Izzy, and then that name just stuck. Like, Is or Izzy is fine. I'm fine. I really like it. And on my birth certificate, when I get it changed, that's when I'm getting it changed to Azalea, which kind of feels a little up myself. But azalea flowers are really, really pretty. Just change the first letter to an I, and it's a name. You guys can't tell me it's not a name. I chose it. But that's kind of one of the things is like, what's acceptable for a name, because I know there's a lot of memes and tropes out there for non-binary people who tend to choose things like brick or like substance, etc. Like, they choose very fun names. I don't know if I could ever pull that off. I think it's kind of badass personally. So like, are there rules? I know some countries, maybe. I think there are rules on what you can pick for babies. I assume those rules are the same for if you're changing your name later in life. But yeah, so it's a lot of thought that can go into it. I just got kind of lucky in that my wife kind of named me, and then everything just sort of rolled its way where it was going to go, so I didn't have to stress about it. But like, I can put myself in the position of folks who wrestle with it. I know that there are people who tried one name, didn't really like it, and then switched to another name. And there are people out there who try names like sweaters and just keep changing them every day because they have no idea. Like, nothing actually feels like them. And that's okay too. There's no problem there. I'd love to be able to give more advice. So like, it's hard because everyone's so unique and personal, which, sounds a little froofy, but it's still true. So like, giving generic advice, I think the best one I saw online was going to like Starbucks or something and telling them your name to write on the cup so that they can call out your name. I think that's the least obtrusive but also most effective way of doing it. So I'm not a coffee drinker, so it wouldn't work for me. But that sounds like something that would feel really good, or at least give you a really, really solid idea of whether or not that name is going to work. So it's so hard. It's such an interesting topic that I could go on for, God, 20, 30 minutes in my rambly way. Hopefully you guys are following along. I'm a bit weird like that when I don't have someone else to bounce off of and keep me on track. But there's a lot of good things out there that you can Google, like the baby name lists. I know there's a joke that I was seeing about how the American Kennel Club just released like the 2025 batch of trans femme names, which is very funny. If you guys want to Google that, because I know a fair amount of trans feminine people who have taken names off that list before it came out. So what I feel like I should end on is that, like, while my journey was so easy and some people's are a lot harder, the tips and tricks aspect of it is going to be really hard to narrow down into like a 10-15 minute package. So it's something that do your Google Foo minus AI. We don't need AI naming us all now. That's won't get into that. The name either needs to be a full representation of you and who you are, or something that you can at least go the rest of your life hearing and not hating. And if it's neither of those things, it's probably somewhere in between, and that's okay too. What matters, really, like the only thing that matters, is that you like it. I mean, you get to pick it this time, so you might as well make it a good one, right? All right, talk to you guys later.